The good news, as being a room full of Catholics here, we all know that when the church has something to say about Catholic social teaching, we can open up the compendium of the social doctrine of the church, and we can get our answer to whatever question happens to be vexing us. So that's the good news. The bad news is that if any one of us were to open the compendium and ask it, what do you have to say about public debt, we would find a deafening silence. And so in that way, we are encountering together something of a vacuum of ideas. And it's with acknowledgement of that vacuum that I hope we all realize that what's about to happen tonight is something, dare I say, on the frontier of theology. And that is to say, there is no shortage of commentators out there who are looking to tell us the prudential arguments surrounding the question of public debt. But as the late Reverend Richard John Newhouse once said, the first thing to be said about politics is that politics is not the first thing. And I think he would say the same thing about economics, that the first thing to say about economics is that economics is not the first thing. And therefore, the first thing to say about all the prudential discussions we hear regarding public debt is that the prudential discussions are not the first thing. But instead, the first thing would be the moral principles that would surround this great question of how are we to organize our finances together as a country. So with a simplifying eye, we are to ask the question of morality, which is bad and good. What are those things surrounding public debt that are bad? And not just bad because prudentially or consequentially they don't make sense, but bad because there's something intrinsic about them that's somehow an enemy of the human person. And what are those things that are good and ought to be pursued? I don't think you can go anywhere else in this city tonight and hear anything even remotely similar, nor do I think any other organization in town could ever do anything so remotely relevant and timely as what we can do here. So that is our topic. And with that topic in mind, I'm very pleased to introduce our speakers. Briefly, we will start from my right, your left, with our distinguished panelists. We have Mr. Anthony Coscia joining us. Mr. Coscia is a partner at Windels, Marx, Lane, and Mittendorf, which is one of New York's oldest law firms, and he has, in fact, been there for over 20 years. Mr. Coscia is a Phi Beta Kappa graduate of Georgetown University School of Foreign Service, and his law degree is from Rutgers University. He currently serves on the Board of Commissioners of the Port Authority of New York and has served as chairman of the Port Authority for 8 years, from 2003 to 2011. He also serves on the board of directors of Amtrak, so if any of you have come from out of town and have a thing or two to say to him, you know where to find him afterwards. He was appointed to that position by President Obama back in 2010, and prior to that he was the chair of the New Jersey Economic Development Authority for over 10 years, which is one of the largest state-sponsored development banks in the United States. After hearing from Mr. Coscia, we will hear from Dr. Anthony Santelli. Dr. Santelli is the founder and chief investment officer at AES Capital, which is a venture capital style hedge fund. He is a founder and board member of our very own Catholic Finance Association and a member of the Committee for Monetary Research and Education, a member of the Society of Catholic Social Scientists, and he is on the board of directors of American Manganese, what I'm told is a very undervalued company, so be sure to write it down and do your homework. Dr. Santelli has an MA and PhD in economics from George Mason University and a BS in engineering from Cornell University. And he has taught economics and finance at Union College. He's been a fellow of the Ludwig von Mises Institute, the Center for Study of Market Processes, and the Center for Economic Personalism. And I'm told on top of all that, he is a family man as well. We welcome Dr. Santelli. Also joining us is Dr. Charles Clark. Dr. Charles Clark is a senior fellow at the Vincentian Center for Church Society. He is professor of economics at St. John's University here in New York, and he has earned his BA from Fordham and both master's and PhD from the New School for Social Research. He is the co-author of a book called Rich and Poor, Rebalancing the Economy. and over 100 other professional publications, mostly in the fields of Catholic social thought, poverty and income inequality, and the history of economic thought. Dr. Clark has been visiting professor of economics at University College Cork, Ireland, and the Pontifical University of St. Thomas Aquinas, also known as the Angelicum, in Rome. Dr. Clark was recently a delegate for the Holy See mission to the UN High-Level Conference on the Financial Crisis, and also an advisor to the Holy See's permanent mission to the United Nations. We're honored to have Dr. Clark with us. And please also welcome Dr. Sam Gregg. He is currently Director of Research at Acton Institute. Dr. Gregg has written and spoken extensively on questions of political economy, ethics in finance, and natural law theory. He is the author of several books, including Morality, Law, Public Policy, Economic Thinking for the Theologically Minded, probably not the largest subset of people you can think of. His prize-winning The Commercial Society, and most recently, Wilhelm Röpke's Political Economy, and as well as some monographs such as Banking Justice and the Common Good. He's also co-edited books such as Profit, Prudence, and Virtue, Essays in Ethics, Business, and Management. And his upcoming book, due for 2012, is called Becoming Europe, the Economics of Dependency and America's Future. So won't you please join me in just giving a warm welcome to these four panelists. We'll start with some prepared remarks, and for those, I will turn it over to Mr. Anthony Coscia, who will start us off.